right, number 20. The mesosphere is a layer of Earth's atmosphere between 50 kilometers and 85 kilometers above Earth's surface. At a distance of 50 kilometers from Earth's surface, the temperature in the mesosphere is -5 degrees Celsius, and at a distance of 80 kilometers from Earth's surface, the temperature in the mesosphere is -80 degrees Celsius. For every additional 10 kilometers from Earth's surface, the temperature in the mesosphere decreased by k degrees Celsius, where k is a constant. What is the value of k? Okay, so we know from a distance of 850 kilometer. Okay, so at 50 kilometer above the surface, the temperature is what? The temperature is -5 degrees Celsius. Okay, and then at a distance of 80 kilometer from the surface, the temperature is -80 degrees Celsius. Right? We can see as the distance from the surface increases as we go higher up, the temperature decreases, right? So as the distance go up, temperature go from -5 to -80. So it's more negative, it's getting colder. Okay, so the temperature decreases. All right. The question wants to know for every additional 10 kilometers from the surface, how much does the temperature decrease? Okay, based on the two pieces of information that we have here, you see the temperature increase, well, the distance increased from 50 to 80, right? Okay, so the change in distance is what? We go from 50 to 80. So the distance increased by 30, right? The distance increased by 30 kilometer. And the temperature, we said the temperature decreased, but it decreased by how many degrees? It decreased by 75, -5 to 80, right? -5 to -80. That means the difference here should be 75 degrees. Okay. Because we do -5 minus a 75, we get -80. Okay. So the temperature decreased by 75 for the distance, right? Distance increased by 30. So the question says for additional 10 kilometer, how much does the temperature increase or the decrease, right? So at 30 kilometer, it decreased by 75. So if it's 10, right, to get to from 30 to 10, we had to divide by 3, right? Divide by 3, that's 10 kilometers. Right? Then we can just divide 75 by 3. That should be our answer. Right? Temperature should decrease by 25 degrees Celsius because 75 divided by 3 is 25. All right, so we know that distance increased just by 10, the temperature should decrease by 25. So that should be our answer, right? Which is just 25 for this question. Okay. Another approach for this question is we can actually treat the two numbers here that we have, okay, these two as two order pairs. So we can say is 50 comma -5. And then another point is 80 comma -80. Okay, we can treat them as two order pairs. And here we can actually solve for the slope because we want to know how fast or something changes, right? That's the rate of change. So you can use the slope formula, which if you recall, the slope formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay. And that we can plug it in will be -80 minus -5 over 80 minus 50. And that should give us -80 plus 5 over 80 minus 50, that's 30. Which we get -75 over 30, and that should give us -2.5 you solve it. Okay, so the slope is -2.5. So what does that mean? That means as the distance increased by 1, so the distance here is like the x value, okay? As the distance increased by 1, the temperature should decrease by 2.5. Okay, so -2.5 degrees Celsius per each kilometer. Okay, and then if the question asks us for every additional 10 kilometer, how much a decrease, right? It was negative 2.5 for each kilometer. You got 10 kilometer, you do negative 2.5 times 10. Right, so the decrease should be again 25. So negative means we have a decrease, but the answer should be just 25, and that's the K value for this one. Okay, so either approach there, it's actually the same concept behind it, right? We find a difference in the temperature and we find a difference in the distance in kilometers, and then we divide the two number. Okay, so the tricky part of this question asks for 10 kilometer. So I had to think about that and then make some adjustment to solve for 10 kilometers there. Okay, so for this question, our final answer should be 25.